Hello everyone, this is Trinium, as you know, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the few extra details that I didn't get to mention in the first video. And also, I thought it would be a good idea to take this thing apart and show you what's inside. So firstly, I want to talk a little bit about what the advantages are. Firstly, Trinium costs, in this configuration, only $395. That is a little under half of the price that other tools that don't even have the similar capability can do. Because what you have to remember is that this thing here essentially does a rear tension tool and a front tension tool, both in one, and you also get the middle tension, which essentially makes this tool 3 times as valuable. So it's essentially a little over $100 per type of disc detainer pick that you're getting, because you're getting 3. But unlike other modular disc detainer picks, this one here you actually don't need to mess with the set screws at any point. If you want a front tension pick, you just do this. If you want a rear tension pick, you just do this. And if you want to use Trinium as Trinium, you just do like this. Which is essentially why I've ditched all of the other tools that I usually carry for disc detainer picking. And now I'm literally just using this. And it works flawlessly. I mean, seriously, I've picked so many locks with this thing here. It's extremely quick, ruthlessly efficient, and I'll be honest with you guys, some locks like this ABIS Plus, I'm not always able to get them open in the field. But with this thing here, it's just 100% reliability. And I think that's what makes this thing here valuable, is that you can actually guarantee your way in. I thought it would be a good idea to take this thing here apart and show you guys what's inside. Starting off with the front here, this thing here just comes right out. Now I can do the second. Oh yeah, got a good bit of tension in there. And the third. So this is the magic bit. This is obviously the body. So you have the rearest handle, the middle handle, and then the top handle. And what you'll notice with the middle handle is that it actually has a collet inside of there. And this collet stops the crushing of the middle tube, because this middle tube has a hole that goes all the way through it. This is actually drilled. Yes, don't ask me how I did that. And if you were to just put set screws on it, you'd just clamp it against the inner rod like this, and you wouldn't be able to move this, which is why you have to use a collet system to spread the force. But when you use the collet, it would actually slip quite a bit. So this has a little bit of glue residue on it, and that glue has a bit of tungsten carbide dust, which makes it fairly grippy inside of there. Because this steel here is so incredibly hard, it's harder than the sketch screws, it's harder than screwdrivers. You really can't scratch this with anything other than another metal that is significantly harder than steel again, which is exactly what tungsten carbide is. So you just put that in there, and then you can tighten the set screws on the collet, just like that. The rearest handle has this nice logo, and I'll tell you guys actually how these tools here are serialized. Instead of just using numbers, which will let anyone see what tool you have, this tool is serialized by the difference of the logo, because these curves, as you can see here for the bat, are actually different for all of these types of tools. And you can generate an infinite amount of variations of these within a certain limit, of course, depending on your resolution. But that is how these are serialized. So you get a document which shows you the geometry of it, and obviously you can just take a picture of it and overlay it. But this essentially prevents other people from knowing what the serial number of your tool is, which I thought was pretty cool. And this symbol here is actually a Viking symbol, which is about fortitude and forward going. This symbol here, which is essentially what this tool here is. It shall never be stopped. This is the rarest picking tip. As you can see, it's fairly long, but even though it's so long, it actually doesn't flex much at all because of the steel which is used. This is the middle picking tip. This is, well, tensioner, as I should say. This is really the heart of the build. This was so difficult to manage to get. The outside here is ground on a cylindrical grinder, and the inside here is drilled, but it is ground in a way that actually puts it on a rod, and then when you grind it, you take it into concentricity. And obviously it's a solid piece here, so there is not going to be any weld break or anything. It's a single piece of metal. This is the picking tip. This is the same thing as this one here, but notably easier to produce because it's not as long. And this has a wider base here so that you don't crimp it when you use the set screws on it. To put the tool together, you just take this like this, and then you take the 3 inserts inside of each other, and then you just stick it in there. Try to get it through all of the collets and all of the different holes. There we go. And as you can see, it limits itself. This reverse picking tip actually won't go further in than is allowed. So you just put it in there, and then you tighten. Just tighten loosely at the start. If you tighten too much, you may destroy the balance of the tool. Well, not destroy, essentially you just limit it a little bit. These handles are fairly precise, and the set screws can sometimes clamp a little bit unevenly. So if I do it like this, you see it will have difficulties moving. So you just tighten them lightly at the start. And with the front handle, just take it like this. And then you tighten, push this all the way in like that. Then you tighten. And if you did it correctly, should be no drag on it. I, of course, put this a little bit too far in. There we go. Obviously, all of these tools come pre-calibrated when you buy it, so you won't have to go through any of this. There we go. Perfect smooth action. Same with the rarest. And now this tool here is back in working operation. Because it is aluminum, it will create a little bit of aluminum grit here, so my fingers are a little bit dark. This may be an issue, but these will be available in brass and stainless as well. That is the assembly and disassembly of the Trinium tool. Let's get on to picking.